So, I have had a max level workshop for a while now. I am also very ready to set off on an expedition once the window opens up. But doing all of that, of course, requires getting hold of a few, let's say, finicky items. You know the ones. Your rusted gears, your rusted shut medical box, your industrial battery, your lab reagents, your motor, your fried motherboard, your cooling fan, your light bulbs, and your dehumidifiers. And I wanted to share with you then the spots that I used and the way that I used them to make this happen as smoothly, quickly, as easily as possible. And of course, perhaps above all, safely. And when you know where you're looking and you have the right run, you can end up getting quite the collection of these in one simple go. And collaterally, a lot of this will get you the level 2 upgrades as well, but I want to focus on, the max stuff here. So without further ado then, let's get into this, starting with just some general kind of talk, and you know what it's going to be. As for any loot run, you want to plan an effective yet light kit. At least the Looting Augment Mark II, though you can get away with the Augment Mark I, you just want to make sure you have a safe pocket, and we will talk a little bit about being naked later, as if you do find that key item you're looking for, and you know it's in that safe pocket, then it feels a hell of a lot better if something goes wrong and an ark or another raider manages to kill you. After that, you just want a weapon that you're good and solid with, but isn't too much of an investment, some basic medical supplies, maybe something like a smoke as a get out of jail free card, and then most importantly your adrenaline shots so you can just infinite stamina to where you need to be, get there as fast as possible before anyone else, though ideally most of these spots should be quite quiet, and grab what you need and leave at the nearest extract/raider key. Obviously, if you're going during the day, bring a raider hatch key, it just makes getting out of there so much simpler, and at night you can't, so don't. And between night and day, or more accurately major conditions and not, when it comes to these items, I have run both sides of it many times, and it honestly doesn't seem to make that much difference. At nighttime there's more containers, so more chances at rolling the loot you want, but actual quality seems fairly consistent between them. So if you're comfortable at playing during major conditions, yeah, go for it, but don't feel like you have to. A lot of the time running during the day actually turns out to be easier and therefore faster at acquiring what you need. With that out of the way then, let's start with your fried motherboard and your cooling fan. The fried motherboard for utility level 3 and the cooling fan for early expedition stage. These are both found in the same very specific room, and it is a room that is just busted for both of them. And it is this room on Dam Battlegrounds. It's essentially just a little concrete box right here, just to the right of the L on the map, and in it you will always get around 5-ish breachables, and in those breachables, I don't know what it is, but the chance of fried motherboard is absolutely ludicrous. I have yet to get less than 3 per run, and that's, what you need. And then collaterally you will get a lot of cooling fans as well from this, and it's just the perfect spot. There's not even any alternates I want to give you for this because it's so good. It's not in a high traffic area, it's not in a loot spot, not even a yellow one, it's just a random little building, and that building's purpose seems to be to dish out fried motherboards, cooling fans, and yes, even heat sinks too. So this is really perfect, day or night, go here, breach them all open, they will always be unlooted. I have yet to ever see them already be looted, and enjoy. Past that then, let's talk, well, a trio. And that trio is the motor for the refiner, the industrial battery for the gear bench, and the rusted gear for the gunsmith. And the reason we're talking about them together is they do have a lot of overlap in ways you can farm them. The first place I would recommend is Blue Gate, and you want to head to the checkpoint. And the place in the checkpoint you want to head is about here, just south of the A in Outer Gates. Once you get here, you'll see a big old 6 and an entrance in the car park. Head inside there. Once you're inside there, you want to just loot every single metal box container, every breachable, and very specifically also all of the cars that have breachable engines. Through this combination, you will find industrial batteries, you will find your rusted gear, and you will find your motors. This will get the trio done very nicely. However, you can bump into players every now and then here. It's not completely high traffic itself, but it is neighboring some quite frequently visited areas, so a little bit of careful approach as you go round, but essentially just walk these tunnels and loot everything, and you have really good rolls at those 3 items. But of course, I don't just want to leave it at that because, you know, more areas is always better. The other one that I would heavily recommend then is the primary facility on Dam Battleground. Near the control tower and research and admin, which is obviously quite a hot spot, but it itself isn't a hot spot. You can access it very easily from underneath, down either in the swamp or the Red Lake, and once you're in there, you've got essentially a nice little loop to do. You've got this main sort of car parky, garagey area, and in here you'll find lots of breachables, including the metal boxes. They can all have what we're after, and then you can move your way through the corridors, searching everything as you go. All of this, again, has very good chances at giving you what you need. And a special shout out to something that so far 100% of raids, and this is 7 in a row, has given me a rusted gear. This set of up to potentially 4 breachable consoles with the windows in front of them in this corridor has always given me at least 1 gear. I've seen all 4 up at once, more commonly you get 2 of them breachable, but it seems to have a really dialed in high rusted gear chance, and is probably the single place I would recommend very deliberately checking. And again, it's quite out the way, not too dangerous, you just gotta deal with your usual turrets, pops, and burners, etc., and you can get this quite easily because not a lot of people go here, not a lot of people actually loot the primary facility. They move through it, but they don't spend a lot of time looting it, and it's a great place to get the trio of your industrial battery, your rusted gear, and your motor. And when it comes to the motor and the rusted gear, there's a little bit of an extra trick for you here, and that's essentially cars. Everywhere there is cars, you can potentially breach the hood if it is spawned as a lootable, and in there you can find a motor. And that just means whenever you're on any map, walking anywhere, check the cars around you, and if they have a hood you can breach it and check, because you've got a nice chance of getting a motor in there. And then very specifically, something like the scrapyard on Dam Battlegrounds is full of cars, but also when it comes to rusted gear, which you're not popping car hoods for, that's going to give you your motor, you do have these little contraption things that you can breach the side of, these white containers, and these have a good chance to give rusted gears. So again, wherever you are, if you see this type of vehicle thing and you can breach the side, do so and you roll that really nice rusted gear chance. So hopefully that gets it done for you. And then while we are talking about motors, let's go on to light bulbs, the next expedition specific item after cooling fans. For light bulbs then, you want to very specifically head to Bluegate and go to Pilgrim's Peak. Now, of course, this is a red area, though it is very out the way, so a lot of people don't tend to go there unless they spawn near it, but either way, we're not even going to go inside it. What we care about is the road in front of it and the car park of the facility, because this place is covered in cars. So while that's great motor chance, for whatever reason, this set of cars, any car within the red box of Pilgrim's Peak, has a really good chance of giving you a light bulb, and this is where I got all 5 of mine. So you spawn in, you get over there, you pop the hood of every single car in Pilgrim's Peak, and then you leave at the nearest hatch if it's day, or extract if it's not, etc., and you can farm your light bulbs really easily that way. It's an incredibly solid spot for it. Then let's talk your rusted shut medical box and your lab reagents. Both of these can be found in overlapping places, and I've got two main options for you. The first is the hospital on Buried City, for obvious reasons. It's a big, dense, red-level loot medical area that can have both these things, as well as cracked bioscanner and such, and I've had a lot of success here. And yes, this place can turn into quite the battleground, though with all of these you should be doing it solo, much higher chance of friendly people, emote, speak on mic. Most people just want to get stuff done and will run past you, but the main juice of the hospital is people tend to fight over the higher floors. The very bottom floor, if you go left from the main entrance, you will eventually get to a room full of red lockers, and red lockers are the juice when you're looking for specific items for your workshop and expedition that can spawn in them. So it's a great little section to check, but also the hospital is covered in loose loot, and a lot of that loose loot can be laboratory reagents, the medical boxes, and so on. Search every drawer and surface in the bottom floor, and then you can leave via the station that's literally in the hospital. It's such a nice in-out quick run you can do, despite being a red loot hot zone. It's very, very much abusable in that way, and it can have you showered in both laboratory reagents and the medical box that you want very, very quickly. The other option for it that's still a little bit maybe dangerous, but definitely a lot less, is the testing annex on Damn Battlegrounds. A place that I find a lot of the time tends to be quite ignored. Not completely, there is a security breach in here, so a lot of the time someone is there, but I'd say about half the time I arrive late, the place is completely unlooted. And in here, you can get some really nice overlap with commercial too, if you're still needing anything for that, but for your actual laboratory reagents and the box, yeah, this is just as good as the hospital. You make your way in, and you go around all of the lockers and the drawers and so on, and hope you get lucky rolling those chances. And you more than likely will. I've yet to come here and not get at least one of those items, and then very conveniently you can leave at the Red Lakes balcony lift, assuming it is there, afterwards. And that's something really, really nice to do. Which then leaves, finally, the dehumidifier. This then is a kind of an awkward one, but the best thing for this is red lockers. Whenever you're running anywhere, there tends to be lots of little buildings that aren't loot areas, they're not marked on the map, but you can go in and it's like a little station with some tables and chairs, drawers, but most importantly, an amount of red lockers. And red lockers are the place for dehumidifiers. Density of red lockers is your best bet at dehumidifier. So while generally speaking red lockers is my suggestion, of course I want to give you a specific run to do. And it's at this point I want to introduce to you the naked run. See, what you can do for any of these is literally go in with nothing. And that's better than a free loadout, because going in with nothing, literally nothing, still gives you a safe pocket. And you can go in with nothing plus adrenaline stims if you prefer, but this way you can rush to where you want to be, hope you get the item that you're after to upgrade with, put it in your safe pocket, and then anything else that happens is a bonus. It's a nice risk-free and investment-free way to try and farm these up. So what you should do if you do want to do this, but even if you want to go in with stuff, this is still the best one to do, is spaceport. You want to head to the departure building, and you want to head to here in it. This is like a little staff locker room on the sticky out part towards fuel processing. This is often unlooted despite having a security breach in. A lot of people come in, get the security breach, and then leave. So here you've got the most density of red lockers I've at least seen in the game, and here is where I got all of my humidifiers. I very, very rarely had a run where I didn't see one. Happened a couple of times, but this is the place. Spawn in, run to the departure building, go through all of these red lockers, and then leave immediately at the west elevator right next to the building. It is very, very convenient, and it should get you what you need very, very quickly, on top of a load of extra good bonus loot, because it's a load of lockers which are great in a red loot zone, which is great. This one really is fantastic, and it is a loot run that we have talked around before, but it's particularly good for dehumidifiers. So that then is kind of that. that. And if you are naked running, it's not as scary as you might imagine, even with ARC. Avoiding them outside is easy enough, and you can do little tricks like, did you know you can melee pops even at melee range before they explode and you don't take damage and you one-shot them, which is quite amusing, certainly. But in any case, yeah, that's my suggested locations and methods for every single one of the workshop level 3 materials and your expedition stuff, and I wish you the best of luck in acquiring it. They can be quite awkward, but hopefully this makes it not that. For now then, like you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.